War Eagle Auburn family and E2C Network family, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live. It is Thursday night, and during football season, you know what that means. It's time to preview another Auburn football game, which is interesting because much different than the feeling we had at the last preview. Not a lot of hope, not a lot of excitement, not a lot to look forward to. But it's odd how different 7 days can make in the outlook of the Auburn fan base as we look to head to Stark Vegas to take on the mighty, weird, pirate, cowbell Bulldogs. A lot of good, weird things going on there. And we like to steal their ADs as well. The game, Auburn versus Mississippi State, coming up this Saturday, 6:30, p.m. Central Time. And we are looking forward to that matchup on Stark Vegas's grounds, and we're going to break down all of that tonight. Some preview, predictions, some commentary. I'm sure from all of you would love to see a great crowd here tonight. Again, I apologize for the technical difficulties getting started a little bit late tonight. As you saw, even with the intro part, everything's haywire tonight. I think it can sense the excitement in the room, the excitement from me, and it's just like I can't even contain myself because, folks, we are being led. Let me just remind you all by Cadillac Williams. Just let that soak in. Let that soak in while we do our little intro thing here. As always, this is your check-in period at the very beginning of every show. Please do make sure that you post right now in unison together where you're watching from. If you haven't done so already, city, state, if you're international, do that as well. And right now, collectively, smash the like button, share button, the retweet button, wherever you're watching this. Please do that for us. It will help the stream out, help us have a bigger and more full Auburn family experience here tonight. I hope a lot of you guys just got done listening to Tiger Talk. I was unable to do so tonight. I hate it because, I was hoping to listen in on Coach Cadillac, head coach Cadillac. Say that again, head coach Cadillac's first ever time addressing the public as the head coach of the Auburn Tigers, albeit interim. But it's a really cool, surreal feeling that I don't think a lot of us in our wildest dreams anticipated that we would be even having an opportunity to think about. But it's real, folks. Coach Carnell Williams, head coach of the Auburn Tigers for now. What remains to be seen what will change in the future. All right, let me start off the show before we get into give you some kind of open up the table type of things. Let me say hello to everybody. We got Billy here, Linda, Dusty, Neil from down the street. Not quite down the street, but close enough, right? We got Stan checking in. Dusty, apparently there's something going on with TikTok with Dusty. Corey, Michael, Rob from Chesapeake, still working over there in Virginia. I'm sorry about that. Who else? Do I see anybody else I haven't missed here already? John's here. John, I sent you a message, by the way, over there on the Patreon app. Go check that out if you can. I think it was you. I sent a message. A couple of you are over there. Facebook, we got Megan, Josh, Rise Life. Tons of people here tonight. Great crowd. Artists have been Brian, Jan, Kowalski. I appreciate you all being here tonight. All right, so here's how tonight's going to work. I always try to have a voice from the other side here. Wasn't able to do that again this week, like last week. But what we will do, first of all, is open up the phone lines to any Mississippi State fans that might happen to be watching live. I doubt we're going to get any, but in the off chance it does, if you're a Mississippi State fan, we would love, especially after stealing your AD, to hear your perspectives on this game, your feelings towards us. So please do let me know if you are here in the chat, and we'll give you instructions on how you can call in. Also have opened up the phone lines to our Booster Club members tonight. If you'd like to call in and just hang out with me for a few minutes tonight and share your perspectives about this preview, you can do that too. We just won't put the reminder down below. You'll just have to go to the Patreon app and find the link there available for you. So here's what we're going to do. We'll start off by kind of talking through some of your comments and questions that are relevant to this topic tonight, and then we'll kind of dive in to some of the actual commentary discussions. And I want us to do some predictions, not necessarily just a score prediction. And it's interesting to see. So let me start off by this. This is not a question for your score prediction yet, so hold those. I want you to really think about this too. We are all feeling a lot better about this game, about this opportunity, if you want to put it that way, left at hand with 4 games left, especially with the Brian Harsin situation being remedied, with Cadillac now at the helm. There's a lot of good feelings out there. But I also want you to kind of realize that the good feelings are there, but this is, for all we know, still the same team. Doesn't mean things won't change. So think about that when I ask you this question. Legitimately, has your outlook on this game changed drastically? Meaning you went from we're not going to win to we have a shot to win, or vice versa. Has your outlook on this game changed simply because of the coaching change? I would love to hear your perspectives on that. Let's see. I will take a few things here. Rob, we're not going to get any Mississippi State fans to call in if you act like that, sir. Yeah, listen, that's the Alabama folks that you're thinking of. I guess it's close enough. I always forget how close Starkville and Tuscaloosa are, so I guess it's a fair statement there. Something tells me that they're going to pass the ball a lot. Absolutely, they will. It's one of the reasons why, which there's no smoke out there about him coming to be a potential candidate as the Auburn job, but I would not want Mike Leach here. We are a run, historically heavy team, and I want to keep it that way. I really, really, really do. Brian says that his outlook, this is my question, has your outlook changed dramatically simply because of the coaching change? Brian says his has. Jackson says, even though he loves Cadillac, not really. That's completely fair. So here's where I'm at in this. And it's kind of like I've already had people ask me, knowing I'm a huge Cadillac fan. Look, you can see him right there behind me. Yep, right there. I love this. My Auburn heart wants this to just go the absolute best way it could, just blowing everybody out. Cadillac making it really hard for them to say no to him being a head coach. But my head can't get there yet. So I also am just trying to keep a level head about this and not assume simply because we had a coaching change that things are all better. Now, they might. I would love that, but it's probably not going to happen. He's given us all the feels. And really, Tatiana, that's all we really needed, right? Was just we wanted to feel something good. And boy, did Auburn University decide one of the best decisions they've made. And not to say there haven't been great decisions made recently, but just in the last few weeks that just unified everybody. It's crazy, isn't it? How simple something like that can get everybody on board. John says the same team, the same results. I think that's fair. I think it's fair. But I think what you will see, though, is a little bit more energy, a little bit more pop, a little bit more. The team never quit on Coach Harsin. That's a fact that can never be understated. Yes, did they kind of get blown out at the end of some games, but you can kind of understand when you look at the context of things. But it wasn't like they laid down. You're not going to see that from this team. They're not going to lay down, but you are going to see maybe a little bit extra energy and a little bit extra excitement from them, I think. Dusty says, I don't think we can win this week, but I feel optimistic about the next 2 games after Saturday. Well, you better get optimistic about this game because we need it to get bowl eligible. We really, really need it. I would love if that somehow miraculously happened. I didn't think we would win another game under Harsin. So then maybe your perspective, maybe not about this game, but in general, has changed drastically. Michael says, if our defense is on the fly and tackled by wrapping up, and if our offense moves the ball by running the majority of the plays, we have a chance. My outlook has changed because Caddy has the energy. Energy can play a humongous role in this game, especially when you're on the road. You need something to kind of give you that little bit of extra to fight against the already uphill climb that you have from being the road team, right? But is it enough to overcome some of the deficiencies? Because might I add, I love what Cadillac said. We're going to get back to what Auburn's known for, running the football a lot more. You still have to run behind the offensive line. I hate to bring the room down, folks, but they've shown some improvement, but obviously it hasn't been night and day. Kind of like John was saying earlier, it's still the same team. It's still the same team that has the opportunity to get miles and miles better. There's still 4 games left, folks. yeah, we need 3 of the 4 to get bowl eligible, and you hope that the improvements continue. But there's still a lot of opportunity for growth. There's still a lot of things that need to change. I like the energy, though, and sometimes you never know what that can do for a team. What on earth? Some of these comments I see sometimes I can't even focus on them. I heard recently, I forget which channel. It wasn't like a specific channel for Auburn or anything like that, but they were talking about there's this term for when someone gets like a host like me of a YouTube show that does live chats, gets locked in on something and you can tell they're focused on it. And I think it's happened to me before. I think that's probably pretty easily seen if you watch the show enough. All right, let's see here. If we lose, I don't think we will feel as bad as it has been. Absolutely not. No, Jan, I agree with you. I think the loss here should be anticipated because it is still the same team, right? That has struggles that it's trying to work out. But it will be interesting to see, will there be more improvement in some areas? And let me say something very unpopular here, folks. The energy will improve, those intrinsic things we can't really put a finger on outside of X's and O's are going to probably be a big difference. But if there is some improvement from these guys, there is still a possibility some of that is the responsibility of the former coaching staff, that they finally got these guys going in the right direction. And maybe this energy change, this directional change is what kind of sent them over the edge to kind of complete that path they were on. There is that possibility. That has not a commentary on that we made the right or wrong decision to fire Harsin. That is just simply looking at everything in context. Linda said we had a chance anyway, so no change, but excited to see how it goes. I think even if you thought it wasn't going to change, there's reason to be excited. I hope we utilize Bigsby big time. I think that would have happened regardless. He has shown that he is back to his normal self, and he's getting a little bit of extra support from the offensive line recently. So that would have happened regardless. But boy, howdy, Tank of Cadillac loves his tank. So we're going to see him a lot. Well, we weren't going to really take these ones tonight, but yes, Grimes, we can talk about those another time, but we'll let the coaching search handle on a different discussion. I would not be opposed to Grimes. I know that's not a popular take either. I think we see Tank and Quez on the field at the same time. What's Al Borges doing these days? Signing his books. I missed an opportunity to go get a book and get it signed by him at the bookstore on Friday because I just mismanaged my time. But yeah, he was in Auburn. I don't think he's going to be coaching, though. It'll be the best 7-5 of all time if we win out. That's not an understatement, right? Not an understatement. Does it really matter? Did we win a bowl game recently? John, buddy, I'm gonna send you a virtual hug. Usually I'm giving these to Dusty. We got to get you excited, man. Caddy's the head coach. Feel it. It's probably not going to happen. Believe, my buddy. Got to believe. Let's see. Bigsby needs to run it 25 or more times and Hunter on the speed sweep. Yeah, we haven't really seen Tank get it more than, I think he got into the 20s a couple of times. Now, and some of the times he hasn't needed to because he ran so well even before he got to 20 carries. Mississippi State is allowing 22.9 points per game. Okay, well, let's park it there for a second with what Rob says. I was actually trying to pull that up on my sheet here that I have in front of me from the athletic department to kind of start having some of those talking points. All right, 22 points per game that Mississippi State, according to what he posted here, which I'm not finding on my sheet, just there's so much information on here right out of hand. That is, what we'll work with right there. Auburn has been known this season to get out and score usually majority of its games, I should say. At least 10 to 14 points. I'll say like 13 points for average to start off games, or at least for the game as a whole. That would seem to tell you, if you look at what Rob says, they're allowing this points per game, that our point totals, just kind of averaging those out, will probably fall somewhere between 22 and 14 points. So that tells you about 17. The question is that enough, just looking at those numbers and comparing them without actually playing the game, to win a game against Mississippi State? The answer is no, in my opinion, because they have such a potent passing game when they want it to be. That's going to be really, really challenging. Anthony, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Can Auburn score more than 30 plus? Maybe we win. If we score more than 30 plus, yes, I think we could win in that scenario. But if we looked at what they allow versus what we typically do, it's probably not a good sign. Now, if this is the game that our offensive line gets up there and just manhandles them, then maybe, just maybe. It's not been shown to happen a whole lot. Thank you, Dusty, for reminding everybody. Let's see. You downloaded the Al Borges book, and it's really good. I haven't had the opportunity to read it yet. I have a whole, it's not a lot right now, but a bookshelf back there with all the good stuff. You know, as much as I think Cadillac would like to be out there, I think he would even admit he's not ready to go back out there and, rough it up with them. How would you rate State's defense? That is a great question. And again, I am a little underprepared on the night to see. I'm trying to get to where. Here we go. I found what I wanted to look at here. All right, let's look at Mississippi State's team statistics here. So your question was, how would you rate State's defense? They are allowing 22.8 points per game. They've given up 155 first downs, rushing per game, 137.4. In my eyes, I don't know if you all would agree with this. Is that enough for Auburn to win if they match what they normally give up, 137 yards rushing? In my eyes, no. So I think if Auburn beats out significantly those rushing yards per game that Mississippi State is giving up, that's going to be a really good sign for Auburn. I think they're very capable of doing that. With the way Tank's been playing, the way we can utilize Jarquez, the way we utilized Damari sometimes this season. And then we've got some we got an athlete in Ashford. John's asking if he's hurt. I haven't heard any news about him being hurt, but I could be wrong. Let me check the depth chart. He's listed as the starter on the depth chart that I have. Of course, that doesn't mean anything. But just looking at the question of how would you rate their defense? Passing per game, they give up 227 yards, so a total of 364 yards per game. What do you guys think based on those numbers? How would you like? Let's do a grade. A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C, D, F. How would you rate, hearing those numbers, their defense? From what I understand, they actually have a decent defense this year, which is probably what gave them a little bit of the hype earlier on in the game, in the season, that they were having when their offense was cooking a little bit more. I see those numbers, and that's pretty impressive. I wouldn't call them the best defense in the world, but I would call them a very good defense. It's an SEC defense. So to me, that's probably sitting in the range of like a B plus, something like that for them. Just looking at numbers alone. We will see how it matches up with Auburn, though. Did I miss that? I did not. I wasn't listening to Tiger Talk. Gerner was announced as the starting quarterback. Well, I've been a little bit checked out today. I've had to get some things done, so I missed that. So thank you, John. Robbie is banged up. Doesn't appear to be anything that will keep him out. TJ was asked to go in on the last drive, right, due to Robbie being hurt. But TJ didn't want to burn his red shirt, so Robbie finished. Yeah. Listen, we've been through everybody else. Why not give? No, this is not a shot at Cadillac. Cadillac's our head coach now, our interim head coach. Let's give everybody else a shot, right? Why not at this point? Gerner's played in one game. He can play in 3 more before he loses his red shirt. So if he's going to be the starter, let's see what the kid can do. Just make sure you don't play him one other game this year. They have a solid B+ defense, Jackson says. I agree with that. AU Tiger blogging. Mississippi State ranks in the upper 50s, low 60s in almost every category. So when you look at that, right, there's 120, 30-something teams in Division 1 or FBS. It's 130 now. Something like that. So probably the top half of that. So they're not a pushover, but they're not something that you should be afraid of. It's not an Alabama. It's not a Georgia. It's not an LSU. It's not a trying to think of who else has a good defense this year in the SEC or who typically does. But it's not something that you should think that you're going to really get away with not having a good game against. Can we bring in Bo for some old school coaching staff? Again, my little Auburn heart would love nothing to have a coaching staff just filled with recent former players, the ones that I grew up with. I think we all know that that's probably not the wisest choice to do. It's a big risk. I'm not saying I wouldn't love it for at least a game or two, but the great thing here's the great thing for Cadillac, right? Because that's starting to be the question now that the initial wow, this is amazing is worn off. Can he be a viable candidate? I honestly think he has the easiest route unless they've already started the process of they've got their guy, they've agreed to it. It's just a matter of timing thing now. The guy who has the most easiest inroad to being the head coach because he has the opportunity to show he can get the job done in a bad situation. He can go out here for these next 4-5 weeks and recruit and bring these guys in. Now, that's a tall task to order, so don't think just because he may or may not bring some in doesn't mean that he's not doing a good job recruiting. He can go out and win 4 games, maybe a 5th if he gets bowl eligible. That's a hard thing to overlook when you're in a coaching search. When a guy comes in, no coaching experience, and pulls that off, it shows you something about how he can motivate. Might as well put Holden in at this point. We are looking at what the future might be after all. Fair. I would say we're not at the point where you can just throw in the towel and try anything, but we're close though, right? After this game, if you don't win this one, bowl eligibility is a high unlikelihood. Stan says 200+ rushing yards, Auburn wins. I would, so if they give up 130 rushing yards per game, 137. To me, 200 is significant enough a gap between that to show Auburn was very successful in the day. I think that probably shows you that Tank got over 100. Robbie, if he's able to play any, or the quarterback ran a little bit. I don't know how well Holden runs because we haven't seen him really do that all that much because he's played for 2 series and, sparing practice footage that we have of him in high school footage. But that tells me Jarquez got utilized, probably some wide receivers like Coy Moore, Javaris Johnson, getting them in open field on speed, jet sweeps, things like that. If we get 250 yards rushing, controlling the clock, keeping their offense off the field, keeping the clangas an opportunity. Yes, they would be able to, ring it at us, but making them clang it a little bit more than they want to might tire them out a little bit. You just never know, right? You just never know. Let's bring Cam Newton back. We're just saying everybody at this point. I see we're all putting love for Devin in there. Yeah, I think she is busy tonight, so she may not be able to be here. She is becoming a little bit of a fan favorite. This might be her show by the time everything gets done. Let's see here. Catching up. Weather is rainy for this game. That will effectively slow down Mississippi State's offense. You would think so, right? Passing game obviously usually is affected a little bit more by weather like that. On the flip side, it makes the ball a little bit slipperier to hold on to, so that can affect both teams. My argument would be, Josh, that a team that's used to throwing and catching as much as they are, it would affect them less than it would us, who's not had as much success, has not had as much security about our passing game. So while it will affect them, I don't know that it's going to affect as much as us, but Cadillac wants to run the ball, so it may not be much of an issue. We're going to need, if Holden's starting, if he plays most of the game, we're going to need to utilize short passes, more high efficiency, high probability passes to help him get settled in very nicely in that environment. There's not a, I mean, there's a lot of other tougher environments to come in as a freshman, but this is definitely one of those with the clang-a-clang going on. Kyle, can we just take a trip to Fantasyland real quick? What if Caddy wins? I think I just talked about that, Dusty. I don't know if you were listening during then, but if winning out to you means he wins the 4 games and wins the bowl game, my Auburn heart and my Auburn head might coincide. Oh goodness. What did I do, Dusty? What did I do? Thomas is busy tonight too. Yeah, we are missing. Oh, there's Devin. Sorry I'm late. I went to vote, then to dinner. How's everyone? Everybody was wondering where you were, Devin. Happy to see you here. By the way, you can call in tonight, Devin, if you want to. Booster Club members have the link. Quick question: has any I like a quick poll of the room, since we got a good crowd here across all the social media. Like yes, no, real quick. Post it. Have you ever been to Starkville? Yes or no? I'd love to hear your perspectives. And if you know, again, I'll reminder, if you're a Mississippi State fan lurking in the background, don't be afraid. Call in. Let's hear from you. We got a no. What else? Anybody else been? I have been one time. Might be the last time. I went for the 2010 year. Nick Fairley tore up some Mississippi State Bulldogs. Michael Trott's been twice. Kowalski's no. Stan, yes. Back in the 80s. Probably was a little bit different back then. Stan from Cleveland. We got all kinds of Stans tonight. I was at the baseball game. I didn't necessarily specify, so I guess that counts. Those cowbells, man. Yes, 4 or 5 times. Well, look, here's what I'll say. To me, and I haven't been in doing math, 12 years. It was a surprisingly beautiful little college town. It comes at you out of nowhere when you drive up on it. Certain elements remind you of Auburn to some degree. When I was there, the stadium was much smaller. It wasn't, as built up and enclosed in as good. So it was interesting to be in what felt like the perfect hybrid of a college stadium and a high school stadium. Obviously, it was still a lot larger back then, but they've done things now. I think they've enclosed in that one end zone to make it feel a little bit more college-like. You have never been to Starkville. So if you are someone like me who loves to go to other college places, I would recommend it just to experience. It's just know what you're getting yourself into. It's going to give you a headache, and it's going to be quite a time trying to deal with all that. All right, we have one of our Booster Club members calling in. You know him, you love him. Let's hear what he thinks about this game. Mr. Dusty, what's going on, sir?
Good evening, brother. How are you?
Doing well. A lot easier this week after the start we had.
Yeah, like I said last night, man. It's nice to at least have good feelings again. And it's hard not to get in your feelings when you watch the interview. Like Devin was saying, with Patty and Andy, and then just seeing the pictures of him leading the team, it's awesome, man. I just feel like with this week, with the way Monday went and everything, going up there at night, it's probably just going to be too hard of a task to pull it out. I think they're going to play hard. I don't think we're going to get blown out. I'm not sure what the spread is, but I don't think it'll be any more than 10 points. Mm-hmm. And I definitely feel like next week with the energy the crowd's going to bring, I bet that'll be a fun Tiger walk. I feel like next week, and then Western Kentucky. I really think we got a shot at finish this thing out 2-2. And I mean, that would have us missing a bowl, but I would be very, very proud of the boys and the remaining coaches if we did that. And
Yeah.
one thing about that A&M game is, I don't know if you've seen it, but you need to go look at that the visitors list. There's several 5-stars. We haven't had this many 5-stars all year. I was pretty shocked when I saw the list. I was like, whoa, really? Without a head coach? So there's still potential to gain some energy and finish this thing strong.
Well, it helps too when your lead recruiter, your recruiting coordinator, is now your interim head coach. So I think that obviously excites people a little bit more to come see him and kind of just see what Cadillac can do, because this is for the home game, right? For the Texas A&M game.
A&M, yeah.
I was like, well, they might be coming to Mississippi State, and it's funny sometimes in that recruiting world when you see players actually traveling to schools sometimes that they're not necessarily looking at. They just take their official visits so they can go see the team that they're actually going to go, they're wanting to be a part of. It doesn't happen a lot, I feel like, but it happens sometimes. So, you never know. Some of these guys that are traveling out to Mississippi State, not saying that's a destination for them to use one of their official visits on. You just never know, though, who's out there and who's watching. Maybe there's some diamonds in the rough that we've missed out there in Mississippi. We get a few every once in a while. Derek, Jarquez from Philadelphia, right? Mississippi.
Yeah, Philadelphia.
Derek's from Mississippi as well, I believe. If I've got all that right. So there you go. So some diamonds in the rough that you can pull out of those states every once in a while. There was a time where we ruled the state of Arkansas. Cody Burns, Mike Dyer, Lee Zimba. I mean, there's more than that, but those are some of the bigger names that we were just pulling their 5-stars, their best recruits out of there nonstop. So I think they're probably thankful we're not doing that much anymore.
Yeah, for sure. We like there's so much potential there, man. And with it really seems like On to Victory is really getting established. So, like I said, a 5-7 finish would just be cool. And just even if it's 1-3, like even if it's just Western Kentucky, like just for Cadillac to get a win, I think that should be the goal the remainder of the season.
Well, yeah, and you heard him talk about it a little bit too. He said, "I make no promises to the players, to you guys, the fans. I just promise you that you're going to be proud of the way we play." And honestly, at this point in the season, that's all we're asking for. We just want to go out there and feel like we got a chance, like that we're showing up to the game, and that the minute that we hit a stall, it's not going to stall out for the rest of the game. So when we go into Stark Vegas, we're going to hit adversity. I mean, the cowbells alone are adversity. I know it didn't seem like it should be, but man, those things are annoying. I can't imagine what it's like for the players down there, because it's annoying up in the stands. So there's going to be the weather fighting against them, the noise, the noise off the field, even though that's technically moving on now, that's still there. There's still players dealing with that. So there's a lot of adversity to fight through in this game. But does the energy that now has been inserted into the program counteract that a little bit? It's going to be fun to see if that happens.
A quick start to me is crucial. If we come out and we're down 14-0, 6-7 minutes in the game, it could get bad. But if we hang around into the fourth quarter, then you never know. And I just I feel like that first quarter is going to be the most important part of it.
Spread is 12.5. What do you think about that spread? Do you think that's kind of where it'll sit?
Yeah, I'm leaning like 31-23, something like that, Mississippi State.
Okay.
Like, I really do. I think that.
Go ahead.
I would say I just feel like there's going to be a boost. I think you're going to see kind of some energy. But ultimately, man, like, how did practice go Monday? You know what I mean? Like, it had to have been somewhat disorganized. So I'm just I feel like you probably lost Monday. So I just don't see it in the end. They know what they're doing. And we've had so much stuff happen in a year. Like, I was thinking on Halloween when Harsin got fired, you're thinking, man, a year ago we were 6-2 coming off a big win with us Ole Miss. Like, jeez, how things change in a year, man. But a lot of these guys still remember that Mississippi State game. And we forgot about that because there's been so many things happen since then. But I don't
Yep.
think a lot of guys on that defense have forgot about that.
Yep. Nope. I think
And I
that's
think that'll
another
be
big
worth the energy
motivation.
boost as well.
Oh yeah. So, there is adversity that they're fighting against, but there's a lot of reasons to be excited. You got your boy Cadillac as the head coach. You've got the disgrace that you faced at home. Boy, wouldn't it be nice to return the favor? Not saying it's going to happen, as we've seen the 12.5 spread is in favor of Mississippi State, which you would expect right now. But boy, man, if Cadillac comes out there and just gets them motivated to run the football like he loves to run the football, controls that clock in a weather, not so favorable weather situation for both teams. In Mississippi State, they're not this whole air raid offense. They're not known for running the ball. I mean, now hear me, folks. I think we say that and people forget that they utilize their passing game in a way that's kind of like a run. So they'll do a lot of short passes to begin the run, but they still utilize a running back, just not the traditional way that you would see it happening most of the time. So it's not like they have no running game. It's simply they just use it's truly that statement of use the pass to set up the run. They literally, it's not just setting up for the future. It's they literally do it that way. So,
Yeah, we're gonna have to find a way to get pressure.
We're
gonna have to find a way to get pressure, and we're thin up there, so I'm not sure exactly how we're gonna do that, to be honest. Unfortunately, we came into the season thin on defensive line, and now that some of the injuries are set in, it just is what it is. I would like to see guys like Robinson and them get to play a little bit more, because I mean, at this point, you don't really have anything to lose. Camden Brown, let's get Cam some targets. Let's get Var some targets. I mean, let's have Jarquez and Tank out there at the same time. Pistol, maybe have one on one side, one on the other. Just throw it all at the wall at this point. And that's, if you're Mississippi State, that's scary, because we don't have anything to lose. So it'll be fun, man. I'm always excited for every game, but it's going to be Cadillac leading the boys on the field, man. So I can't wait.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to hit us until we get to next week. It's going to be cool to see that announced. I can already hear the announcers. And for the first time as head coach, Carnell, this is not the this is not the early 2000 folks. You heard me correct. Carnell Williams is leading the team out of the tunnel. I mean, you can just.
And can you imagine the scene in the locker room if we get a win?
Yeah. Oh, dude. Listen, Harsin, though they were few, had some pretty good celebrations in the locker room. It's going to be nothing like what happens in that Stark Vegas locker room if he walks away with a win.
Yeah, I'm going to convince myself we can do it come Saturday morning.
Well, listen, you have more belief, I bet, than you did on Monday morning than that you do right now.
Yeah, 12-year-old Dustin's going to get out and walk around Saturday.
I love it. Here, let's get a quick prediction from you since you're here. True or false? Auburn gets 2 or more turnovers in this game. It's a rain-drenched potential game. I'm not asking for our turnovers because we know probably that's going to happen. Let's just be honest, the way that go. But I'm asking, we didn't.
That's the part that's so discouraging, Kyle. We didn't commit stupid penalties last week, and we didn't turn the ball over, and we still got work.
And we
still got work. So I don't even know what to make of it anymore. But 2, yeah, because when was the last time we had 2 turnovers? It's got to happen this year. Sure, I'll go with 2. Sure, true.
And here's where I'm going to make the point that it happens. So if you guys have any opinions in the chat about that, do you think Auburn gets more than 2 turnovers? Meaning an interception, a fumble, we take them. With the amount that they throw in this type of weather, right, I think you're going to have a high probability for maybe not a. Will Rogers is a great quarterback, right? I mean, he's not Tom Brady, but he's a great quarterback for what he does in the system. But when you throw that much, you increase your likelihood that something bad's going to happen. The ball gets tipped. Somebody makes a great play. Right. He makes a mistake. So I think that alone gives you an opportunity for an interception right there. And the ball's probably going to touch the ground at least once or twice, if not by their own mistake or us causing it. So I think it's very likely that Auburn can cause/take advantage of mistakes from them and get 2 turnovers. So then you start making this type of argument, right? Because that's what we really have to do at this point, because you're not anticipating Auburn winning this game as much as we would love to believe that. If you get a running game established, in that type of weather. You slow the game down, keep their offense off the field, and just, score touchdowns as often as you can on there. Don't give up in the red zone and, miss these field goals. Get touchdowns, and you get 2 turnovers minimum. That puts Auburn in position to do better than a 12.5 spread, in my opinion.
I think you might see a new kicker Saturday night.
You think so?
Harsin said, correct me if I'm wrong on this. I didn't really watch the last month of his press conferences,
yes.
but he did say, like, okay, now we have to evaluate the kicker. And I feel like the guys that are left still got to be there, right? And I'm not trying to pile on Anders or nothing, but if you take away the 2020 season, his numbers just are not good, and he's definitely his confidence appears to be shaken right now. So I don't see why you wouldn't.
He did say, if I remember correctly, he did not say that officially they would utilize him. They said that we'll probably need to look at that now. He admitted that they'll at least take a closer look at that. Here's what I think. To my knowledge, we have not utilized him at all. Can you think of a time that we've used McPherson at all this year? On any
we haven't,
kickoff?
and no, I don't think we have at all. I'm pretty sure we haven't. So you could play him the rest of the year and not burn a red shirt.
Right. So that's my point. Why not let him go do kickoffs or field goals? Or I think now that this rule's been established, if you haven't used one at this point, throw everybody out there. Obviously keep some continuity, but if there's an opportunity to let somebody get experience, some of these wide receivers, young guys that haven't gotten a lot of opportunities to play, put them out there blocking. Even if you're not wanting to throw the ball to them, get these guys opportunities to play, because now is the time that it starts building for the future. Even though the coaching staff will probably be a lot different in a few short
that's
weeks.
The thing, though. That's another cool thing about Cadillac, right? Is that he's going to do his best just because he cares about Auburn, and you're not gonna question his effort as far as practice and in recruiting. I mean, he's not taking that part lightly either, and that's important for when the next guy comes in. And I think that, like, at the end of the day, Cadillac's going to do his best to say, I deserve to be here, to the next staff. And if he does a good enough job, it'll be just to make it, hard for another coach, for the new guy to come in. And me and you talked about it at the Penn State game. We feel like it'll be hard for Cadillac to survive a third staff, just because that's the odds of that's really tough. But he has an opportunity right now to basically say, you can't let go of me.
I think obviously he controls his own destiny. If he wins, if you pose the question, if he wins a bowl game too, boy, that's a hard thing you got to look at and really consider. Not saying that that's the right choice, but you got to at least consider it. But when we had that conversation, yes, I didn't see him making the transition. Now,
yeah, me either.
Now with you don't put Cadillac in this position if you don't believe he can't do something. It's not, yes, it's a PR move. They knew that the fan base is divided. They knew all that. And it was the smartest move they made. That brilliant move. Put the guy that no one's going to hate in charge for the rest of the year. And I
Rich
think
McGlynn, you think?
Rich McGlynn is the one that told him. That's what he said during his interview. So he did also mention that Chris Roberts gave him a call too. So what I would imagine is it was a decision between Roberts and McGlynn. And then McGlynn made the call. Roberts probably, called to confirm and thank him, congratulate him and stuff like that. That was my interpretation of the timeline when he spoke about it. So that's how I think it shook out right there. It wouldn't surprise me though that if, Cohen maybe had a hand in anything too. I mean, not that he knows Cadillac, but he probably asked, who's the guy that you guys want and think could do the best? He said, go with that guy. So I don't know. Just thinking about it. Let's see. Carlson fan here. We'll sure miss him. Yeah, we're definitely going to miss having a Carlson around. It's been what, 2 decades? 2 decades. Wow. A decade.
Close to a decade.
Yeah, almost a decade of Carlson's there. It's not going to feel the same. I mean, think about it this way. You've got Carlson. Help me. I'm blanking here. Who was it before it? It wasn't Parkey before him, was it? I think it was Parkey.
It was Cody, yeah.
It was Carlson, Parkey, Byram, and then it was then it was Vaughn, and then it was Yost, and then it was Damon Duval. See, I got my years down. I've been following for a while.
I forgot Yost.
Yost
Yeah.
didn't really live up to the hype as much, in my opinion. But I remember seeing that dude kick in the SEC championship game against Florida in 2000 warm-ups when he was redshirted. Ooh, that boy could kick. He had a leg on him.
Whenever the time comes, that's going to be my favorite part about doing the Auburn Roots with you, is just talking about old school Auburn stuff.
Oh yeah, it's coming. I promise, buddy. I keep hinting that it's coming. I've actually redone the logo on the Auburn Roots series, and I'm just like waiting for the right time to announce that it's back, and that's going to be the thing. Have I shown you guys the logo?
I haven't seen it. You may have, but I know the old one.
The Booster Club, we did that call one time. I don't think you were available, maybe, or at least for that. I thought I showed them the logo. But
you did? Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I was me and Devin and Thomas on there with you. Yeah, I remember.
It may have. Maybe I changed it a little bit since then, but it's coming back. All right. Let's close out. Let's close out with another prediction for you, and we'll see if anybody else wants to call in. We did a defense one. How many yards passing will Robbie Ashford have? Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. We'll say quarterback. We'll say quarterbacks have. How many yards passing will Auburn have? Because apparently Holden started.
I'm going to go 125.
125 now. Is that with one quarterback, or is that with using two?
I'm not saying anybody's lying. I just haven't seen the thing about Holden.
I haven't.
If it's Holden, I say maybe 175. If it's Robbie, it's going to be 100 to 100. I feel like if it's Robbie, the game plan is going to be to run the ball 40 to 50 times. I feel like that's where it's at. And then just set up the deep ball, set anything up off of play action. Obviously, if it's Holden, you've got to change it up a little bit because of their skill set.
Right. Yeah. To me, the weather's a concern for this area as well. I do tend to agree with you about Robbie, not just because of skill set. I just think with the commitment to run the ball more, I would like to get Robbie some more opportunities to continue to improve as a passer. I just don't know right now that we need to get back to what we know we do well. That's running really well with Robbie. But, you're going to have to give them a reason to respect the run. So if Robbie Ashford alone, if he plays in any capacity and enough to warrant this type of yards, I'd say if he hits 150 yards, that's going to be a good day for him passing.
No turnovers.
How about let's change it. Robbie, just get 100 yards and no turnovers and close to 100 yards rushing. That's all we need from you, buddy. That's it. Yeah. They won't put Holden behind the O-line. They might.
We don't have a choice. We don't have, and it's apparent that TJ doesn't want to go back in. And I understand how you can feel either way about that. I would bet he's probably played his last down at Auburn.
Kind of feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hate it for him.
So, yeah, it's unfortunate, man. That's just the way it goes. And especially with quarterbacks, it's so competitive. And, think about it. Robbie, of the guys on the roster right now, Holden's the only one that's even got recruited to Auburn originally. So, it's just kind of a new age as far as that goes with the portal and everything. And all these quarterbacks are, and I don't blame anybody. My high school year, I played my freshman year at a school. Just didn't see eye to eye with the coaches and transferred to another school, and it was the best thing that happened to me as far as all that went. So
yeah,
I get it, man. Cadillac's leading us Saturday night. Listen, I was surprised to see Will Friend's numbers when he was an OC. I had no idea Will Friend had ever OC'd, and he actually averaged 31 points at Colorado State when he was an OC. So everyone was kind of saying, why didn't Will Friend get fired? Oh, there you go. So I'll be interested. Apparently it's going to be him and Ike kind of co-thinging, co-calling plays. I'm interested to see if Ike brings any of these, wrinkles. He's obviously been around football a long time. So it'll be fun, if nothing else, man. We have no expectations, so it's going to be fun.
Yeah. I think Will Friend, it's reached a point this season where you would hope that Will Friend had been here long enough to see a little bit more improvements. frankly, I'm just willing to give basically anybody a pass at offensive line right now, just because of what we've been dealing with. Like, you know me, I hate talking bad about our players, but there's been maybe some improvements that we've talked about with some change around. Jeremiah Wright's been a breath of fresh air. We've seen some other players have some better games, but to me, I think if Will Friend had brought in some more offensive line recruits, you're not hearing him in those circles of being people not liking him and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, it's frustrating. And like, it's frustrating when you hear that the coordinators haven't gone on recruiting trips, but at least they have the excuse of, well, apparently we have a meeting with the coordinators on Friday night, which is strange, but that has nothing to do with Will Friend. So yeah, there's reasons to be frustrated with Will Friend, obviously.
Right.
And yeah, that's another thing. We won't go down that. We won't go down that road.
Hey, look, but this is like a new season for everybody. So I guess that's my biggest encouragement for everybody. Just view this as a 4-game season at this point. I know it's hard to forget what we've been through, what was it? 8 games now. But new interim coach, essentially a new staff in terms of probably how they'll be obviously how they'll be led, how they'll be focused, new energy, win or go home. That's really what it is. If you want to play a 5th game, win or go home. And sometimes when your back's up against the wall, especially when you get a Tiger up against the wall, they fight back, and they fight back hard. So we'll just wait and see. I would love to get from you as you exit out a score prediction from you, sir.
I haven't picked Auburn to win since the Penn State game, and I'm really getting tired of that. So this is gonna be my last. I can't. Listen. If this decision would have been made on Sunday, then maybe.
Okay.
But
you're concerned about the not full week of practice, is what you're saying.
Yeah, like how did Monday go? Like, it had to have been just a lot of chaos. Like, I don't even see them starting to get a game plan and all that ready until Tuesday. Like, how much of what they already had going into the week are they going to use? There's just a lot of questions there. But I think, like I said, the motivation of what happened last year on the defensive side of the ball, and then just the energy of, okay, we're trying to come out, and like, a lot of people always talk about when things are going bad about how negatively our fan base affects the team, which I don't think it affects the team as much as people say it does. I feel like maybe more just at home when you can feed off of energy kind of thing. But I don't know if social media affects the way the team plays as much as people think it does. But the energy this week or in the last 48 hours has been all positive, and they got to feel that love. And I think they'll be focused. I think they're going to come out. I think that like when you hear Cadillac talk about it, you can feel the love he has for Auburn, just the way he talks. So I feel like those guys are going to feed off of that as well, and we'll put in a good effort. Next week we're going to beat A&M, and then after that we're going to beat Western Kentucky, and then I might put my goggles on for the Iron Bowl. So I don't see it this week. I don't see it. Which, real quick, I have my best friend is an LSU alum, and this just kind of speaks to like just how respected Cadillac is. When we named Cadillac, he called me and he was like, "Man, I hope y'all win every game the rest of the year." Like, just
he knows what's
just
up.
Because I mean, people know, man. Like, Cadillac that name resonates, and he has a lot of fans outside of Auburn as well. So, not this week, man, but nice little 2-game win streak coming.
That's fine. I can deal with that. I am not upset with that whatsoever. I like there's a balance between optimism but also reality there, and that's where I've asked everybody to be this year. Look, have some optimism, but base it in reality. You didn't see me picking Auburn the last couple of weeks. I knew it was up, but I was hoping it was going to happen. I was looking for reasons to believe. Let's see how this week goes, and we'll reassess again. So it's going to be a fun one. Excited to see the first game under Cadillac, and I know you are too, Dusty.
Oh yeah, my all-time favorite athlete, my all-time favorite Auburn player. It's like it takes you back to being a little kid. I guarantee you, or at least I'm hopeful, If we come out and just pop them in the mouth, let's hit somebody, man. Let's play 2003, 2004 Auburn physical football. And like I said, I think Mississippi State will win, but make them wake up on Sunday morning like, man, what was that? Let's get a couple targeting calls. Who cares?
Well, we need Smoke Monday back for that then. Let's see if we can. He's got some eligibility left, doesn't he? Let's bring him back in for a game or two.
A couple of them Junior Rose Green versus Georgia hits. So let's make them feel
it. That'd be good. That'd be good. We're channeling all that early 2000s energy right now, so why not? Let's bring it all back and make it happen. I appreciate you calling in tonight, Dusty.
Hey, man, appreciate you as always. War Eagle, everybody.
War Eagle. All right, for Booster Club members, I will keep the phone line open for just another minute if you'd like to call in and say hello. We normally go till 9, but we've got some good conversations going on here, so I can go a little bit longer if you'd like to. So maybe another 5 minutes. I'll keep the phone lines open for the Booster Club members. Link is in the Patreon, like Dusty just used, so use it if you'd like, but you don't have to. All right, let's see comments and questions here. See a lot of discussion about the Wilfriend versus what's his fault versus listen, I think there's blame to put on Wilfriend, but I also think that there is some leeway to be given as well for him personally. All right, we haven't done this officially. I saw some of you already doing that. Right now in the chat, I would love to hear your score prediction for Mississippi State. As you're doing that, I'll give you some more numbers to kind of consider. We already talked about what they give up as a defense: 22 points per game, 15 first downs per game. Well, that's 155 first downs total. I'm sorry. Rushing per game, 137. Passing, they give up 227. They get 321 passing, 89 rushing yards per game, 189 first downs, 31.7 points per game. So with some of those numbers, what do you think is going to be the final score of this particular game? A couple other things to keep in mind. Will Rogers, their quarterback, is a 67.8% on the year, 2,555 yards, only 4 interceptions. So if Auburn can get an interception off him, that'll be showing something right there, the amount he throws. We know that their rushing attack is not going to be a strong point for them. All that in mind, who wins? What's the score on Saturday? We got a 31-17. Yeah, if you posted it earlier, post it again just so I can see it, so I don't have to like scroll back up there and do that. I'm just being lazy. I will offer mine here in a second. 21-17, respectable. I mean, listen, that's a very reality-based prediction. I'm not mad at it. I would just hope we do better than that. 21-17 is respectable. Oh, I like that score. Not just because it's Auburn, because of what it means from the past. None of y'all better say 3-2. I can't take another one of those, folks. All my goodwill for this week might be spent if we do 3-2 again at Mississippi State. 35-24. Stan, I don't hate that score. It's more than I would like to say us have a differential on each other, but I don't disagree with that a lot. That might be close to where I go. 42-17 Mississippi State. They're going to tear us up through the air. Corey's not very optimistic. Understandable. 34-20. If we win, I'll be uncontrollable. 34-27. A few Auburns thrown in here. 28-32. 5-4. Then no. I cannot. I was inconsolable. I will never forget where I was. I had to remove myself from the group of people. I was inconsolable watching that game. I could not fathom that we were stuck in a 3-2 matchup at Mississippi State and we somehow won. That's the only time I've actually been infuriated with a win. You're wrong for that, Neil. 21-17. Hey, I love it. No shame in that, right? All right. So all right, before y'all get me all stirred up again about 3-2 wins. Auburn's usually good for at least, like we said, early on a streak of 2 touchdowns or something. So I'm going to say they are guaranteed 14 points to some degree. Question is this will be the biggest test of the year, in my opinion, for our defensive backs, which have been probably the strongest point for us. So I'm going to say I'm going to say 31-20 Mississippi State. I know. Mr. Optimism over here is saying that we're going to lose by that much. I believe in the energy that's in this team right now, the rejuvenation that's taken place. I believe they are capable of doing better, maybe even blowing them out. But let's try to base it in reality until we see something different. So for me, I'm going to choose to say they don't allow Mississippi State to make the spread. I'm going to say 31-20 Mississippi State wins an 11-point margin, just underneath it. All right, we'll take some final comments and questions here. Don't go away just yet. A couple reminders for you here. Weather's a factor, 23-17. All right. A Chris Davis type play could win it. Maybe so. Hopefully we can meet finally at the Western Kentucky game. 35-28, but Cadillac comes in and scores the last touchdown. Neil, I ask myself that question every night before I go to bed. I had to sit through that. My goodness, it was awful. Just don't play prevent. Fair enough. All right, couple things. I'll take final comments and questions. I will close down the call-in link for Mississippi State fans. We didn't get any. And the Booster Club members right now. But post your final comments and questions that you'd like to have answered at the tail end here. Couple reminders for you as always. First thing, if you haven't, you need to subscribe. Why? Because we're giving away a signed Auburn football. All of the details are in the description. There's a video you can go watch detailing the rules. All of that stuff is there. All you got to do is subscribe and leave one comment on one eligible video, which is basically all of them from the time that we announced this giveaway, in the comment section, not the live chat, but the comment section. So once you're done watching here, go drop your scores, predictions in the comment section of this video. That's an entry. Every time that you leave a comment on an eligible video, that's an entry to possibly winning not just this signed football giveaway, but the other prize package that's with it as well. Just some Auburn gear that you may want. Reminder, we will be doing an Auburn versus Mississippi State. It will be late. The game's at 6:30 after all Central Time. Post-game reaction show. Hope you can be here. We'll probably have the call-in link available for our Booster Club members too. If you're worried about, well, Kyle, you're only giving the Booster Club members. We'll be doing a live call-in show on Wednesday night, just like we always do next week. So don't fret if you're like, I'm not part of the Booster Club. Or here's a great thing. You could join the Booster Club at patreon.com/E2C Network. You could be a channel member. Or you could just check out any other links in the description for ways to help keep the lights on here at E2C Network Central / the mobile broadcast studio when I'm on the road, aka my car. All that being said, you don't have to do any of that. We just appreciate you being here, hanging out with us, spending time with us, being part of our little family within the Auburn family. The only thing I would ask you to do is just smash that like button right now if you haven't, to help this video out. All right, final comments and questions before we thank you for reminding folks, Linda. You are a trooper for remembering to do that. Thank you. Keel. I appreciate that. Clell, excuse me. I always get that mixed up. By the way, we have done an Auburn Roots series on him and on AU Tiger blog, and you should go check it out. Let's see. Are we still paying Gus and Gene? Sure feels like it, doesn't it? I don't know that officially. I don't know that anybody knows that officially. That's probably confidential. I wouldn't be surprised if there's still payments being doled out. The problem is I think sometimes there's a stipulation that if a person takes a job within a certain amount of time in contracts, that they lose that. Well, that's not a problem. It's a good thing for us. So are they being paid, or maybe it's they get paid less if they take a coaching job? So I would imagine we're probably not paying Gus as much as we think. Nobody knows that officially unless you work in the athletic department. Coaching search question. Did you give your takes on the search? Also, did you see Lane's comments about Dion? I have. There's plenty of other videos you can go check out to see my, in fact, I put a video out yesterday, kind of breaking down the top 5 candidates in my eyes and their pros and cons. So you can go check that out. But basically, in my eyes, it's the 3 of Lane, Dion, and wow cow, Hugh Freeze right now with, I think, Lane and Dion ahead of everybody else. I think Lane makes the most sense. Dion gives you a lot at the start. I'm not sure that he is the longest term success for us, though. Quick success, yes. Long term, no. So that scares me a little bit, just to kind of put it into a nutshell. More details over there. Go check that out, though. I appreciate you. You know, and reminder that we do more than this. Yes, you see me on the YouTube channel. We have a whole podcast. That's why it's E2C Network. We have a whole podcast network. Other personalities give their opinions on those shows. You can go check those out. There's actually a separate channel, like a YouTube channel. We have a second one over there, which is just all the audio podcast over there. You'll hear some of the content that we record as a podcast over there too, in audio form only. So go subscribe there too. Links are in the description. That way you can get everything. You can listen on the YouTube, or there's other. Basically, just check out the description. All the links you'll ever need are down there. That sounds about right. So think about it this way. We may be done paying, exchanging money with these former coaches, but we are not done paying for it, because that money got taken away from other places. And you may say, yeah, but that's what Yellowfell is for. That's a lot of money. And it's gone. So you are still paying for it. The heart behind that type of question is, are we still being affected by it? The answer is yes. But as time goes on, that'll affect us. Well, we're definitely being affected by it now with Harsin being fired and his staff, most of them. Yeah, Linda, it feels like we should be done with him. All right, a couple more questions here. Hope we can all get excited about whoever is hired as the coach. I hate the feeling of having to act excited, but someone who is obviously not in our top 15 list. Well, my encouragement to you, let's not do this again, what we did with Coach Harsin. Whoever it is, let's trust the due diligence was done. My request would be 4 years. I know that's a lot to ask, folks. We need stability. We need to get this hire right. But let's not just be so quick to get on the let's get somebody fired train. Let's support them, get behind them, and just see what happens. Yes, you are worthy. The only reason I'm here is because of you guys. I agree. That's not a good look. Recruiting, again, I will reiterate that the recruiting, you may not be seeing the fruits of it right now, but it is always taking place. But we would like to see some more fruits, especially with an early signing period coming up. So hopefully that will give people a little bit more excited about that in the coming years too. 10-year, $100 million deal to anyone. Don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for being here on this live stream. Stay tuned, stay subscribed, because you never know what's happening these days in the world of Auburn stuff, but especially Auburn sports. Until we talk to you again on the Saturday night stream, post-game stream, be here or be square. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us and being part of our little family within the Auburn family. Until then, War Eagle.